So yesterday I went through the new hand-wired AC-10, and this is the new hand-wired AC-15. This is the AC-15 HW-R1X. It's got the Celestian blue, 16 ohms or 15 ohms Celestian. I'll talk about the things that I see that are better immediately. First of all, you don't have one single panel on the rear, so you don't have to remove a jillion screws to change a tube, but you still have to remove quite a few. No, you can't reach the tubes at all. There's a shelf here. This one has two channels. It's got a normal channel. The normal channel has high and low gain inputs, which is nice. And it has a bright and boost switch. We'll see how they did that. And then low and high gain inputs for the top boost channel. So unlike the AC-15 Custom, you can jumper the channels because each channel has two inputs. On the Custom series, only the 30 has four independent inputs like this. Then this is a top boost channel, so you got volume, treble, bass, then reverb color, which is always kind of in Vox's reverb level. We'll see how the reverb is. Then a tone circuit, the cut circuit, which is critical in a Vox, so it doesn't make your bats fall out of the sky at once, as Goody said. And then a master volume. In just a moment, we'll see what kind of master volume's in here. Just a single power switch, no standby or any of that. Probably not necessary. Let's see. We've got what seems to be the same FX loop as the AC-10 hand-wired. Hopefully it's not noisy like that one was. Foot switch here. IEC, all that's fun stuff. The reverb tank is the same short Belton Accutronics. Feels like, might be an MOD or a Ruby anyway, but it's the short one. It's about that long. I don't expect much from the sound of this. It's possible that the circuit could accept a better sounding tank. We'll find out. One thing that strikes me as a bad idea immediately, though. This is the speaker jack connection. There's no jack inside here to plug into for the internal speaker. So it's out here, but it's not protected. It's not recessed at all. So if you're transporting this in the back of your van and your drummer throws in the back of the van, whatever, that's going to have a ton of force there. And these jacks, these speaker jacks, are plastic. Now, that's not a slam on the quality of the jack. That'd be too much strain. If these could be metal switchcraft jacks instead of these plastic Rheon or Neutrix or Cliff style, in which case this plug would snap off. This would just snap right off. This is too much stress to introduce here. So this cheap cost saving here is going to cost a lot of owners broken jack replacements, probably soldered to a PCB, so not a quick and not a real fast thing, probably at least 30 minutes to an hour to fix that. And then you have to deal with changing out the cable from time to time because that's going to get damaged in transit. It's so important to have these critical things protected. It's one thing if it's a head. So it's a head, you take the plug off, put it in your gig bag, put the cabinet in the van, the head in the van, put it all back together on stage, replug it in. But if it's like this, very few people are going to remember to unplug it for transit and then make sure it's plugged back in before you use the damn thing. So, bad Vox. You know what would be really nice to have on this relatively expensive amp so the Tolex doesn't get chewed up by these screws over time? Little dress washers that just sit between the screw heads and the Tolex so it cushions it. One of the worst amps in the world at least has those. The Blues Junior at least gives you some protection, and this gives you none. So, again, come on, man. All right, I've got my bearings. I'm still a little bit woozy and out of it, so if I say anything really stupid, forgive me. Most days I know what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can remember what I'm talking about here. The AC-15 Custom Series has got a solid-state rectification that emulates the voltage drop and sag of a GZ34 rectifier tube. This has a rectifier tube back there. I can't access any of the tubes without pulling this whole thing out and taking it off the shelf. I'm not going to do that unless I am paid to go and do any work on this amp. And the AC-15 Custom also has a solid-state filter. So they've got a resistor instead of a choke. This has a choke. In some ways, this is closer to a JMI. The implementation is not that great. JMI era AC-15 and AC-30 would have had dual 16 sections for the filter caps. This has got 33 and then 10 in parallel with 4.7, so 14.7 and 33. That's fine. They could have just used a 22 for here. No one's going to hear the difference between a 14.7 and a 22, but I guess it made someone happy. The heat management can be a little bit better. This resistor here on the cathode bias is kind of get a little bit hot, so it's good to move the electrolytics away from it a bit. These little caps here are something that someone at Vox for the past 10 years or so has been very thrilled with. And they're just very small value caps, 10 nanofarad, 100 nanofarad, whatever they are. I don't remember on this one, in parallel with the larger filter caps. These small caps are more efficient at filtering high frequencies than the larger caps are. And this kind of comes from hi-fi design or any design that needs to be extremely stable. So if you came out of college and you're designing power supplies for computers and routers and stuff, this is just what you do. It's not really necessary in guitar amps, but people ask about these a lot. They don't do any harm. They're fine, and they're fine caps. The rest of it's pretty straightforward. It's close enough in some ways to what Vox actually did back in the day. The JMIs for the top boost circuit use a 30 microfarad cap, which is equivalent to here, though they have 10 here. The only reason they use 30 is because they had one laying around. They already used it for the tremolo section. This 10 is just fine. And some places where JMI used 8, they've got 10 here. That's not an issue. Unlike the previous hand-wired amps, this 15, I assume the 30, have full-size pots. That's a nice improvement. And the top boost wiring seems to be done more like the JMI, though it's reversed as far as clockwise versus counterclockwise goes, but it still gives you the JMI circuit the way this is wired. What's not the same to me, and it's strange that Vox always seemingly says, hey, this is this vintage thing, and then it's not. The AC-30 top boost circuit's got dual 22s here. This has got a 10 and a 22. The little 10 from yesterday had dual 22s, though this cap in the 10 was all mangled because it was soldered on the film of the cap. But that's just going to give a little bit different mid-range response compared to the old ones. But people liked the mid-range response of the old ones. Why would you change the thing? A lot of components down here for the normal channel, from pretty much from here over is normal channel, including this little LND 150 MOSFET. I assume that's doing the boost because it's tied to the plate resistor for that triode stage. So I think they're just paralleling the triode, the tube triode, with the solid state emulation. Now, for those who don't know, the LND 150 is the closest thing they've come up with in solid state to the behavior of a tube. It actually behaves a bit more like a pentode than a triode. Now, depending on how they have biased this MOSFET and whatever load it has on it and whatever tonal response they've shaped it with, and the mix level of this combined with the tube, this could sound fantastic. It could sound awful. We'll find out in a little bit. In a larger sense, though, I find this stuff very depressing, where whoever assembled this did not care. Each one of these should have been neat and straight and beautiful. And instead, it's just slapdash. It's something done to get off their bench and get the next one so they make their quota. I mean, there's a certain aspect to business that works that way. And I've seen Fenders from the 60s that have some variation, but nothing this sloppy. And this is just kind of a I don't care approach. Does it work? Does it get the little sticker and pass my bench to the next part of the team? Sure. Okay, that's good enough. It's not really. You can get a much better sounding amp consistently with a good PCB than bad hand wiring. And this is an example of bad hand wiring. As I mentioned in the video yesterday, once you have this cheap lead-free solder, now there is good lead-free solder in the world. This is not it. This stuff that Vox has been using for the past 15 years or so is just terrible. It does not hold up to vibration. Even if I come in here with fresh lead-free solder, good quality stuff, it doesn't mix with this stuff. And the whole premise of a turret board is that it should be easy to service. This stuff is not easy to service. So what's the point of a turret board where you don't get any service advantage, where the parts are laid out so grudgingly and slapdash? There's just no care. There's just no care. There's no pride in it. And a good layout, a well laid out PCB sounds better and will be beautiful, and everything will be exactly the same. And you can have control of whether this amp sounds good or that amp sounds bad. No, they're all going to sound pretty much the same. Isn't that the goal when you're doing productions? This has got an actual reverb driver transformer, and it seems to be a tube recovery stage at least. I don't see any other solid state stuff hiding around here unless they tacked it on the effects loop board. So I think this is a tube reverb circuit. But again, it has that puny little tank. We'll see if it sounds any better than the one in the 10. All right, before I move this over in front of the real microphone, I'm just going to move my bench microphone kind of in front of the speakers so you can hear what's coming out of this thing a bit better. And I'm going to test the effects loop. We'll see where we're at with that. Well, ain't that a bitch? That just sounds terrible. Now, someone was commenting on yesterday's video, maybe the AC-10 I was looking at was just a bad example. And there are bad examples of amps. If I were playing that amp and what I heard led me to believe it was probably just a tube, something which is designed to be interchangeable, I would have chased that down that rabbit hole. But the issues with that amp were the solid state things, the reverb circuit and the effects loop. And those are very consistent as produced. That's the entire point of mass production. My iPhone is pretty much just like your iPhone. My Blu-ray player is pretty much just like your Blu-ray player if they're the same model and brand and all that. There's not supposed to be any variation. My solid state effects loop is supposed to be the same as yours if you have the same model, or in this case, both amps are using what seems to be exactly the same Vox effects loop. This is a bad sounding effects loop. And that's just a shame because it's not that hard to make a good one. Well, I'm going to go blow the hell out of my nose and then grab something to eat and then hook this up thing with a mic and see what it actually sounds like. But aside from the useless effects loop, and if the reverb is quiet when it's off, that's fine. This thing could be a good sounding amp. It's just a shame that you have to pay so much to be insulted by what's inside it. It's just so sloppy. But maybe it'll sound good. We'll find out. All right, let's start with the top boost channel. All right, it sounds really good. Overall, this sounds really good. I do not like the change to the tone stack, going to the 10 nanofarad there, because you lose some of the interactive mids that this channel has, and I'm not able to get the thing that I'm looking for. Let's see if it does one of the other weird things. Let's see if it'll do the kinks kind of thing. Turn the tone stack all the way down and turn the gain up. That hums because I'm right here by the transformer. Single coils, transformers, that's how it is. I can usually play those parts just fine. I'm just really sick today. Anyway, but for the general clean stuff that most people would do, it's got a bit more prominent low end in how the mids come up. Some good sounds. They're not the sounds I go to in an AC-30, which is what this is trying to emulate. But, you know, if the AC-30 had been built like this from the start, maybe this is what we chase. But it's one part. Now, let me show you something. I'm going to turn the Let me show you something. I'm going to turn the cut circuit all the way down. The max brightness. This is what the AC-10 has at all times. So yeah, that cut control cannot be skipped. Well, at least that cut circuit cannot be skipped in the box. You can just make it a fixed value. You can measure what this pot is right here and just do that. Most people will be happy. But that's nice, and that is painful. Let's try the normal channel. Boost off, bright off. Sometimes with the normal channel, you want to turn the cut down a little bit. I think they've neutered it a little bit. I think they've done the 330K thing. I have not checked, which is very common. All the models since the AC-30 Custom Classic have been doing that, which is copying the normal channel from the AC-30 treble model back in the day, as opposed to the normal model. That's the Brian May one. But since they have this boost thing here, it may not be an issue. Let's see how the boost does. It's a shame about the thud. I would de-thud that if it were an amp I was working on. But other than that, it seems pretty promising. Overall, this is a good sounding amp. It's not as well built as it promises on the outside. The reverb is very good. It's about the same reverb level that you get out of the custom, though the custom does it with solid state. Doesn't quite sound like a Fender. You won't take this thing surfing, but it's good. I wish I wasn't feeling so bad. I would enjoy playing this some more. So yeah, the effects loop is horrible. The effects loop is rotten. It's very no good. The reverb is actually quite good, but the reverb is good on the custom. This has some different sounds you do on the custom because you can jumper the channels, and that the LMD 150 MOSFET boost was incorporated really well. I'm not a huge fan of the tone stack change. I miss the interactive mids that you get with the actual top boost tone stack. That would be a one-part change. The master is implemented well. It still doesn't have the safety fallback resistor from grid to ground. I would want to add that, but the taper is good. The implementation is good. Everything's in here is safe. Be a pain in the butt to change tubes on, but so are the old ones. So nothing bad there. I guess at the end of the day, the AC-10 hand-wired is a bad joke. This could be worth it to the right player. I'll talk to the owner after he sees this video, and maybe we'll make that little tweak, and I definitely want to make that tweak to the master volume. I think he should keep this one, unless he's just disgusted by the whole concept at this point, and he should definitely return to the store or sell the 10, because it is not ready for prime time, and would take a tremendous amount of money to be made. So it's just a shame that this wasn't built well. I think to cleanse all our palettes, the next amp I'm going to feature on the channel is a Germino 50 watt. And let's just take a look at what hand-wired amp can actually be when it lives up to the hype. Until then, thanks for watching.